Hi, I'm Juhber, and we are back on the NSG server. Today, we are either going to descend into financial ruin or begin the greatest business empire that a Minecraft SMP has ever seen. Stick around to find out. But first, in order to try to atone for my past failures in the end, and so I could try to get to know some of my server mates better, I participated in a big end-busting event. This end-busting event is brought to you by Xogue. Xogue, the dude who went end-busting for hours, just so everyone else could too. It went on for over 2 hours. We found loads of gear, had lots of fun, and hardly anyone died more than once. For real though, we were fortunate in that we didn't really lose any gear. Even when people did have a mishap, we definitely came out of the end with a lot more than when we entered. I didn't want to show the whole thing here, but look how insane it looks for 6 people to swarm around the end like a squadron of elytras. Also, if you wanted to check out any of the others that participated in the end bust, there should be a link to their channels on the screen and in the description. Some of them even posted first-person perspectives with audio. Back in the overworld, I did a very small amount of work on my base. I have big plans for it, but those are going to have to wait for next week. I don't have the infrastructure to make the resources I need, and I don't have the money to buy them. So, this week, we're going to get that money. I think the kids these days are calling it bread. But first, there was a new member on our server. I mean, one even newer than me. So, I headed over to say hello, and thus began the Gunnar Chronicles. The first thing I noticed is that we share some similar goals. The second is that he prioritizes stuff weird. I did the neighborly thing and left a gift. I didn't have an elytra to give or a fancy sword, but I like to think my gift came from the heart. When he got online, I invited him over to my base to give a tour and play a funny prank on him. He has an elytra on, so he'll be fine. Ooh, I should call my lawyer. So, did you have a chance to watch that video I sent you, by any chance?
Yes, and while it does look pretty bad at first, I think we should be able to convince a jury that you're not at fault.
Well, that's good, but how are we gonna do that? I mean, I did shove him off a cliff.
Well, according to Mojang vs. Ubernoob, pushing someone off a cliff when they have the tools to survive is a prank. It's not a crime, and he did have an elytra on.
He said he was typing whenever I pushed him.
And yet right here, we can see he drops his sword, which requires a button input, which isn't possible if he was still in a chat dialogue. No, I think at worst the judge will call this a poorly executed prank and make you take defensive mining. You don't have anything to worry about.
Well, that's a relief. Thanks for taking a look. I really appreciate it.
I hope so. My standard consultation fee is a stack of diamonds. I'll send you an invoice.
Relieved that I would be going broke from paying lawyers and not from being sued, I packed up all of Gunnar's things and delivered them back to him, free of charge. While visiting, I complimented him on his house decoration, but it didn't really feel like it would truly be a gift if I bragged that I was the one who gave it to him. He did say it was cool though, so I decided to get him another one. But if he saw me bring it over, he'd know that the other one was from me and he'd think I was just trying to butter him up for something. I borrowed some supplies from friends, some knowingly, some not, and brewed up a potion of invisibility so I could drop off my second gift. Gunnar almost saw my generosity, and that would have been awkward. On the way out, I saw that he had a massive mosquito on his back, so I smacked it before I left, to help out. I realized that I still hadn't done anything towards my future business interests, so I built a lake. I'm sure that'll help. I spent an hour jumping around my base trying to figure out how. Then I spent an hour flying around the shopping district with some friends, continuing to wonder. Now I'm wondering what they were wondering. Anyways, I knew I was going to need a lot of resources, so I headed back to my base, making a quick pit stop to leave my closest neighbor, the Gentoo gamer, a small gift. First up was leaves. I needed 5 shulker boxes of leaves for the shop I planned. So I headed out into the wilderness and completely destroyed a small patch of forest. I'm not too worried about it though, because the odds that someone randomly runs across this patch seems pretty unlikely. I doubt it ever gets seen again. I cut down a bunch of trees, which wasn't too bad, but I needed a lot of terracotta, and I didn't want to spend a year mining it, so I went looking for trouble, and found it immediately. And by trouble, I of course mean wither skeleton skulls. Unfortunately, I was not so lucky with my second attempt at finding trouble. After about 2 hours, I complained to Safe, who told me that he had a spare skull. He then offered to buy my end rods from our end busting session. I decided that a wither skeleton skull was fair compensation. The third spot of trouble took me a while as well, but acquiring the second skull had given me new purpose. Nothing could stop me from achieving my goal now. Never did find out what happened to that zombie pigman. For unrelated reasons, I hurried out of the nether back to my base, where I completed my collection. Oh yeah, that looks real good up there. I immediately took the skulls down and headed back to face my old nemesis, the End. Not really, but the End is the best place to kill the Wither with as little work as possible, and the only thing I want to work hard at is being lazy. I finally got what I was after, and as a bonus, I also got a nether star. It might make a good wall decoration. Hi Minion, how you doing, man? Fancy seeing you here in the nether. Okay, this is getting weird. I'm just gonna go. I came out of the nether near the Great Wall of Prismarine and made a beeline for the nearest mesa biome, where I set up a small base of operations, which I immediately moved. After I collected all of the terracotta I needed, I took advantage of all the dark oak planks and fences in the mine shafts, so I didn't have to go look for a dark oak forest. I came across the natural enemy of all Juhbers, and dealt with this threat accordingly. My work complete, I packed up and flew back to my base. La 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 la, nothing to see here. There was still one material I needed, and thankfully it was something I could get at home. I also made a whole lot of green dye with cactus supplied by, you guessed it, Xogue. After all of my materials were finally together, I started my build in earnest. My plan was to build the leafy sheep in one take because that makes the time lapses way cooler. Well, I probably shouldn't have started after midnight then. Just like Cinderella, my coach turned back into a pumpkin and my brain turned into mush. So I gave up and started again the next day, this time with an audience. As long as this thing took me to make, it actually took me way longer to design. It didn't even start as a shop. I just wanted to build a sheep. The leaves came when I tried different materials to try to make it look fluffy, and then everything just kind of evolved from there. I finished up just enough of the interior to do an initial sales pitch to some investors. I think it went pretty well, but I'll let you guys decide for yourselves.
The name of the shop area is the Leafy Sheep, and I think you'll be able to find it if you look around.
Okay, so I went straight to a sheep's head because I thought that would be it.
Nope.
That's been here a while. He apparently whatever he built is like almost as tall.
Yo,
yeah,
that's sick. It's
I haven't looked yet. I haven't looked at it yet.
That.
I was purposely waiting for this just to look at it because I wanted to be surprised by the finished bit.
It was literally too big. That's how he missed it.
This is insane.
Seriously? All right, here we go. I am recording right now, so.
Yeah, actually, give me a second because I want to.
Holy crap!
Optifine instead. But
I literally just assumed I was just like trees in the background, so I was just like, "Oh my god, this is
what
amazing.
in the world?"
All good
down here.
All good businessmen have an office downtown, right? And so this is obviously still under construction, but you two have a chance to get it on the ground floor. For a 5 to 10% cut of your profits, depending on, conditions we can discuss. You can sell your items out of one of the stalls in here, and I'll advertise it and make sure people know where it is, and I can help restock. Based on whatever your the infrastructure you have going for it.
Okay. I like this.
Dude, this is epic, man.
This
is crazy.
Epic.
This is going to be the future location of the Ram's Head, which is the exclusive club that you will gain membership to as a seller in the Leafy Sheep. It's again still under construction. Well, you gotta find the. Oh, you are very stuck. Here you go.
Thank you. So obviously, this place is really big. Like, what else do you plan on building? So in terms of shopping space.
So I take it each one of these is like what we would sell out of.
Yeah, each of these is a stall. If you want multiples, I mean, there's no like initial startup cost to buy a stall. It just you have to agree to be a member, and so to be a member of the Ram's Head, it's a 10% total.
It went on like this for a while before, who I assume must be an industrial spy of some sort, brute forced his way into our secure channel.
But maybe next week we can have our first official meeting, depending on the terms we come to. And
yeah, dude,
Just
totally.
To remind you that this is a Minecraft server, not the stocks in the share market.
This is a top secret meeting. You've ruined it. Okay.
You've just,
I was in the zone.
you've ruined it.
This was actually like so confidential.
This is
oh right guys, it's a Minecraft server.
This is a very private and secure conversation. I don't know how you got in here, but I'm gonna have to call the admin.
This is an immersive Minecraft experience. I'm a businessman.
We now need you to sign an NDA. You cannot leave until you sign the NDA.
This is basically like a mafia, so can we just like wipe Scrooky out?
You know what I mean?
I mean, basically.
I was gonna describe it as a syndicate.
I'm better with you than against you boys.
Okay, the only syndicate I know is the YouTube channel.
Oh, well, like a crime syndicate.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't want to say the word crime because it's got such a bad connotation.
You'd be admitting something in that case.
It has that tendency.
After the meeting, I did some more work on the interior because we have to be ready for the first official meeting of the Ram's Head Club next week. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for this week, but if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and if you want, check out this other video where I talk about some different kind of time lapses. Oh, and check out the other NSG channels. They're cool people.